Hi, Peter Hunn here with another little bit about old outboards, and this time the subject engine, the operable phrase is little bit, because this is about as basic as you get. Circa mid-60s to early 70s Montgomery Ward Sea King, the powerhead built by Clinton. Actually, the whole motor came from the Clinton Engine Company, private branded for Montgomery Wards. Not quite sure on the year, simply because they were in, I think, the 1966 catalog and some subsequent catalogs as well, and especially some of the little catalog stores of Montgomery Wards. You could buy these things as leftovers up through the early 70s. Price point was about $100, and in some cases you could strike a little sweeter deal than that. In any event, probably $200 less than a comparable Evinrude or Johnson. 2 horsepower, essentially the air-cooled Clinton engine that they used to use on go-karts and chainsaws and lawnmowers and things like that. I'm trying to think of what we can say about it. You know what? It's the kind of motor that somebody who didn't know a whole lot about outboard motors might buy because it was inexpensive. And if you had a small boat, small body of water, and you didn't require a whole lot of speed, this was a pretty good deal. There are a lot of these still available. I would say that at an antique outboard show or a flea market or Craigslist, you could pick one of these up for 25 to 50 bucks, and with a adjustable wrench and a screwdriver and a little bit of mechanical know-how, maybe some parts from the local auto parts store, you could get this thing back on the water. It's really not fancy at all, but worth noting because it's a useful machine. So let's take a look around this motor. In the background, I don't know if you can decipher it, but I hear somebody's using a chainsaw, which is probably an engine that's similar to this Clinton-built 2-stroke engine. If you ask yourself, is that motor missing some parts? It looks like it is, but it really isn't. Even new, this component here looked like that, except it was painted. That is the fuel pump body, and that would have been for a more deluxe version of this thing with a remote tank, and the rest of the fuel pump went there. Somebody added that fuel filter and that length of fuel line. It just had a short line going right into the carburetor body when it was new. Not a whole lot of shrouding at all, except for just over in here. There wasn't much on this juice can fuel tank. They called it juice can because back in the old days, a lot of the juice, like orange juice, was sold in concentrated form, and you mixed it with water, and it came in a can about that size. That fuel cap, the original one, had a knurled knob on top for an air vent. It was long gone when I found this motor, and so we just used one from a parts bin for kind of a generic lawnmower engine. We've got crows that apparently don't like this video, so they're putting their 2 cents worth in. You see the air intake? Somebody made that, perhaps as a joke. Usually that's something that would go on a racing outboard. Maybe this is class LS racing, lawn sale. Over here we have the throttle, and that operates the butterfly valve, so that's your fast and slow. There is the 3-position choke, choke off, half choke, which we use to warm the thing up, and full choke to start it. I wouldn't blame you if you wonder, why are they doing a video of an outboard motor in a driveway? Well, there's an explanation for that, and it's simply that that's where I first met this motor. Somebody dropped it off at the end of this driveway, and apparently knew that I was interested in old outboard motors, and they just thought, Let's see what he can do with it. It had no propeller at the time. I don't think there was much of a gas cap, and that was about it. So it didn't cost me a whole lot of money, and that's one of the reasons why I thought, let's see if we can get it back on the lake. Okay, the 19 whatever Sea King, not quite sure, late 60s, early 70s. Going to open up the fuel valve, and you'll notice, as we mentioned before, that somebody had put a fuel filter on there with a different fuel line, but it seems to work. Our high-speed modified intake carburetor scoop. I got her on choke. Let's see what we can do here. That's about one horsepower of the two. Let's see if we can fire it up to full speed. That's about where it wants to be. So here we are on Lake Champlain, 138-mile long test tank, trying out this bargain basement Sea King. That is a whole lot of fun, even though it's not a very fancy